Hello guys, and welcome back to another tutorial for MCreator. So today what we're going to do is the music box. Obviously I have a little example set up and I'll cover how to create the audio and a couple sources that you can actually do. I'll be covering not so much the aspect of creating the music itself, but basically putting it together and some programs that you can use to actually basically make your own music and stuff. Let's start with showing you how it all works. So I have just a random item in the inventory. I've assigned the item to play the music, and if we right click on the music block with the actual item, it'll remove the item and it'll play the tune that it's accustomed to. So if you wanted to stop it, you can just take it out and the music will stop. This is done through the Minecraft commands playsound. Before we leave out of here, if you want to, after you've imported your music, I'll show you how to do that later, but what you want to do is go and type out the command. I'll also leave the commands what you need for doing this. Play sound is the one that you're going to want to do, and then you want to type in your mod name, so music box, and then that's basically the tunes that I have for here. So you would want to do that. Then you want to assign the type of music, so in our case it's a record, and then we want to assign the entity and the coordinates where it's going to be playing, so we can just use these symbols to do the relative coordinates. So for the volume, what you would want to do is go 1.0, and then there is another 1.0, and I think there's also 1.0 after that. So you want to have that all set up like so, and if you play it, then it plays the music. Now to stop the sound, what you want to do is stop sound, and then what you want to do is add the type of music it is, so it's a record, and then the music that it's playing, so music box, and then the tune exactly, and that's all you need to do, and then it will stop the sound. So again, these are the two commands that you will need to do. Replace the yellow part right here with your mod ID and the audio that you have imported. And for the other one, it's the same thing, but for the teal, I guess, mod ID and the sound name as well. So keep that in mind when you're actually making your music box, because we'll have to run those two commands later. Regardless of how you create your music, you will need Audacity in order to basically convert the audio into something that Minecraft can use. We will be getting into that in just a second. Before we go into the tutorial, I am going to point out a couple programs that you can use. Now, if you have some money, you can throw at a music program. I suggest FL Studios. They have a whole bunch of beats and stuff on here that you can actually create your own music with. If you don't have the money though, there is a free type of program that is called LMMS, and it's a music editor like FL Studios but free, just a basically dimmed down version of what FL Studio provides, but you can get started and make some rhythms if you know how to, and you can download that. This is free again, and you can download it for Windows or Mac or Linux as well. And you're going to need Audacity. I'll make sure to provide those links for both of or all three of the different programs in the description below. Audacity, what we're going to do, we're just going to drag the sound that I have from one of my videos over to the Audacity window, and it will automatically load up the sound waves. Now, when you have that, what you want to do is you want to play it, and one thing that you want to pay attention to is the red. You want to have it somewhere around -12. So you can adjust the sound by lowering the gain on the track here, and right there is about good. So when you have that, you can stop your audio. And with a -12, that seems to be a nice sweet spot for Minecraft. A lot of songs will be over to the top of the game window. So when you have that, you can go to File, Export, and then Export as OGG. And then you just want to save it, and then you want to leave whatever properties are here and click OK. And it will compile it to .ogg, and it should put it on your desktop. So when you have that, what we can do finally is we can go to your workspace, you can go to your resources and then select sound, and then what you want to do is you want to import sound, and then you want to go and find the folder that your sound is located at, and then you want to open it. You want to select your record, and that will be used in the command as well. So again, what you want to do is just give it a name. So wrong, and then click import sound. So when you have that, what we can do is now work on the rest of the mod. So the next thing that we need to do is go to our mod elements, and then what we need to do is create a block. So I've already created a block, but you want to go to the plus icon, click on block, and then you need to basically set up the following settings. You want to set your textures, any of the other properties here you can adjust. The sounds and all this other stuff you can adjust as well. There's no major requirements for any of these. The advanced properties you can leave as default or change it how you want. You will need to enable tile entity though, so make sure to enable that. Set the size of inventory to 0 and disable these two checkboxes right here. We're not using energy or fluid from Forge Energy, and we will need a update tick and a when on block right clicked event. There's also no generation properties either. Let's start with the right click event. So we'll open this. I'll cover how this all works. So first off, what we're doing is we have a few MBT variables that we're assigning. So the right click event, what we're doing is we're doing a couple things. We're actually testing for two types of main variables. We're testing if the block has the record and what record the type is for when it was right clicked on the item, and we're also testing if the music is playing or not. So for the music, I have just assigned music playing to test if the music is playing or not. The first condition that we're actually going to do now, this is just a duplicate of the other record. Now you're going to need to click on the gear icon and add a else if statement, and then basically add your next record if you want to expand on to that. In our case, we're not going to need to do that, so I'm just going to fix that up so it's like so, and we're just going to leave it. What we're doing is we're testing if the music is not playing and if it has record 1. If it has record 1, then we want to set the record has record 1 to false, and then we want to spawn the gem of the record. And it's going to also want to test for if the jukebox is playing music to false, if the record 2 is in the thing, and so on. If it is actually playing the record, then what we want to do is test for an else statement. So we have created an else statement down here. We're then testing if the music is playing equals to true. We're testing if it has record 1 or whatever record that it's in. And then we're going to be setting the music playing to false, and we're also going to set the variable for has record to false, and then we're going to stop the actual music. So we need to use the stopsound command at player, and then the type of, and then what we need to do is we're going to test basically test for our sound music that we're actually playing. In our case, it is music box example, and then our record that we're playing. And then we're just basically spawning the gem for that disc. And then we're doing this for every record again as well. If that's false, so basically if the record is not playing any sounds and if there is no record in the block, then what we want to do is test for another else statement, which we're going to do and test for if the entity is holding a particular item. Now this could be any item that you want. You can make a disc, or it could be it could be a feather all you want. It could still play a feather if you wanted it to be that, but we're testing for the item in the player's main hand. We are then assigning the jukebox playing music, and then what we're doing is we're going to play the sound, and then what we need to do is has record and assign that to true. Then we're going to remove the entity's main hand item, and then we're going to just output a message of what the track name and artist is. Now you want to do that for both of your records or however many records you have. When you have done that, there is a little bit more steps that you need to do. I will cover how to create just a basic system right now, so we're going to do that. We need to create a if statement, and we're going to go for the else if. We're going to grab a logic and then an and statement. We're going to place the and statement right here. We're going to not collapse that. We're going to external inputs, and then what we're going to do is go to logic again. We're going to grab a light blue operator. We're going to just duplicate that 2 times. We're going to go back to logic, grab a true statement, and we're going to duplicate that 2 times again. We're going to set the top one to false. And then we're going to go to block procedures, and we're going to scroll down and grab the get MBT logic tag for the block, and we're going to place that here. We're going to set our music playing variable. And then what we want to do is we want to just duplicate this block right here, and we're going to test has record, and then we're going to set the ID for what record is basically playing. So in our case, we have record 1. We're just going to assign 1 for this tutorial, so you can add on to the condition by clicking the gear and then dropping that in there, obviously, if you want to add more records. Next, what we need to do is we need to assign the variable. So we're going to do has record 1, and then we're going to set this to false, and then we need to spawn a gem. So we're going to go to world management, and there is spawn gem, and we want to grab that one right here. You're going to plop that down. You're going to spawn the item. So in our case, we're going to just go to items and grab a yellow disk. We also need a math operator because we want to center the drop. So we're going to actually go and grab a math number. We're going to set this to 0.5. And then what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this 2 times. And we're going to set it +1 on one more. Actually, it should be 1.5. And then what we're going to do is just drop our coordinates into these blocks here. And we're going to place them right in the proper slots, like so. After that, what you want to do is move on to your else statement. So after that, we're going to expand that. We're going to move that to the side so we can actually see. And we have another else, if and else statement. So we're going to go back to logic, or pardon me, flow control. We're going to drop that down here. We're then going to put that right here after we've duplicated the condition. We're going to set this to true. And then what we need to do is set the variables. So we're going to duplicate the set logic variable, and we're going to go and set music playing, and we're going to set that to false. And then we're also going to set the variable has record 1 to false as well. And then what we want to do is we want to stop the sound. So we're actually going to go to world management, and then there should be execute command, and then it should be set to clear. We're going to set that right under here. And now that command that we ran last time for playing the sound, what we want to do is basically make sure that it works in game. Best way to do that is just hit tab in game and basically fill out the command and test if it works. We want to play the stop sound command, and that at all entities record, and then the mod ID as well as the song track that we've basically imported. After that, what you want to do is just move on to spawn gem. So we're just going to duplicate this one more time, and we're going to put that right there, and that's all set up now. Now what we need to do is basically cover this part right here where we're testing for the item. We're going to do that by adding a if statement, dropping that down here. We're going to go to logic, grab a item operator, and then we're going to go to Minecraft components, grab a item testing thing, and then we're going to go to items, and we're going to select our record that we're basically putting into it. And then what we need to do is go to entity procedures and scroll down to item in main hand of entity, and then we're going to actually set our variable for playing music to true, and then we also want to set our has record, and we're going to set that to true as well. And then what we want to do is actually play the command. So we're going to play the sound, and then we're going to assign the play sound command, and it should be play sound, the music, your mod ID, and then the music. And then what you want to test is for the type of music. So in our case, we're testing for record, and then we're testing for all entities, the coordinates of where the block should be placed. You should use the curly dash thing at the, just on the next to the number key, and then you want to set your other volumes and other things to 1.0. There should be 3 of those at the end of the script. After that, what you want to do is you want to remove the item from the player's inventory. So we're going to go to player, and then we're going to remove, and then we're going to drop that right down here. We're going to remove that block here. We're going to select the has item in entities main hand, and now that's taken care of. Now if you want to actually output the message for the player, what you can do is go to player procedures, scroll down to send message to player, and then you can output a message for the action bar, and you can type whatever message you want. So that's basically the gist of how that's all set up. If you want to expand it, you need to just add an else statement to that one, a else if statement to this one, and fill out these informations here. And you also need to do one for this one right here and update the record, has record, and then it would be record 2, record 3, record 4, and so on. So let's move on to the update tick. So once you got past the actual right click event, what we can do now is work on the update tick. Now the update tick is a little bit easier than the other one, so there's a lot less things going on. We have two conditions happening here. The first condition that we're doing is we're testing if the music is playing, and then we're basically, if it's playing, then we're going to be using a timer and increasing a variable for music time seconds. So in seconds, one thing that I should note is if we go to advanced properties, I've set the block to the tick rate to be 20. That is exactly 1 second, so we need to make sure that this number is set to 20. If we go back to our thing, we're going to be counting every 20 ticks, it's going to increase, which is every 1 second. So now this is going to be updating the variable in seconds. Now that we have that, what we can do is basically calculate how long the record is actually supposed to be playing for. In our case, we can right click on our actual audio file for our MP3, go to properties, go to details, and then if you scroll down where it says length, it says 143. Now if you add 60 plus 43, it comes out to 103 seconds. So we need to use that in our second record variable. So 103 is for this record 2 here. For our main song, it's 120 seconds. So that's the record 1 that we basically played at the start of the video. We also need to test if the record, for the type of record that's in the particular block. So if we have record 1, then we want to test if it's true. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, so if it's equal to or greater than 100, the time for the track itself, then what we need to do is set the music playing to false, and then we're going to set the music time seconds to 0. And you're going to do that for every record and that you basically input into your system. So this is for record 2, that's the amount of time that it's supposed to be playing for, and then we're setting it to the music playing equals false, and we're resetting the time to 0. So when you have done that, all you need to do is basically run the block. Now, I'm going to cover how to create this from scratch. So we're going to go create a if statement. We're going to drop that down here. We're going to then go to our logic, grab a light blue operator. We're going to go back to logic, grab a true statement. We're going to go to block procedures. We're going to scroll down to get MBT logic, and then we're going to set music playing, and then what we want to do is actually go back to the block, and we're going to set MBT number variable. We're going to set that to our music time seconds, and then we want to remove the 0, and then we want to get a math operator, and then we're going to increase that by 1 every second, and then we want to go back to block and then scroll down and get MBT number, drop that into the other math operator slot, and then we want to get the same variable, and then that's going to increase our timer. Next, what we need to do is we need to go back to our flow control. We're going to grab a if statement, and then what we're going to do is grab a logic and statement here. We can do that by clicking on the equal sign, going to external links, and then what we can do now is we're going to basically test if the music is playing, set to false. Oh, pardon me. No, we want to test for the record. So let's go to put that one down here. We want to test for the record. So has record 1. And then what we want to do is go back to our logic, and then we're going to grab a dark blue operator. We're going to set it to equal to or greater than. We're going to grab our MBT number, and then we're going to put that right here. And then we're going to grab the number variable, and we're just going to test for the amount of time that we need to actually play the record for. So in our case, this is 120 seconds. And then what you want to do is you want to assign the logic variable for music playing to false. So we're going to scroll down, grab a light blue logic variable, and we're going to set this to music playing, and we're going to set that to false. And then we're going to need to set the variable for the time. We can just duplicate the timer. We're going to set that to exactly 0. Just remove that. and we can delete that part, and that's all you need to do. That's all that you need to do in order to set that up. We'll hop back in game and I'll show you the other record works. Alright, so we're in game. I have both discs. We're going to right click on that, and as you can see, that plays that record, and if we right click on this one, it plays our new sound. So if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, comment down below, rate the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Peace out.